Hello, it's Thursday, March the 3rd. This is the Arkansas Times Daily News video with Max Brantley back after a week's vacation. Seems strange to leave in the middle of an election season. We planned this trip 2 years ago before the legislature moved up the election to March this year. I'm not particularly sorry I was gone. To tell you the truth, the outcome were not surprising, but they were nonetheless not very exciting either. For example, an independent group that opposes the influence of money in judicial elections reported yesterday that 1.6 million was spent on TV advertising in the races for Supreme Court, most of it by outside groups whose sources of money were not identified. So it was so-called dark money. We don't know who was influencing those races. We do know that candidates that benefited from dark money won. This has prompted Asa Hutchinson, not the outcomes, but the spending, to say he might be interested in pushing legislation that would change Arkansas from elected judges to appointed judges. Of course, he's governor now. He'd get to make those appointments. You could see where it might appeal to him. I've often said that I favored merit appointment as well over elections precisely because of the influence of money in electoral politics. But I'm not sure if Arkansas is ready for that. On that same front, Democrats in the Arkansas legislature have asked the governor to consider adding ethics reform legislation to a special election call he's expected to issue on health care issues. I doubt that the governor will add it to his call. Republicans, now that they're in power, don't seem to want some of the ethics changes that are being proposed by Democrats, primarily because it would affect them. It would do away with a rule that essentially makes it impossible to find a candidate guilty of an ethics violation in campaign finance reporting as long as he corrected the mistake after it was called to his attention. It would limit the number of PACs candidates can create and get ways around the corporate contribution limits. A lot of good ideas, and would also require some disclosure, at least, of outside spending in judicial races. Some legislators think this can be done even under the Citizens United ruling. I think these are going to face a hard road in the legislature, but at least the Democrats are calling them into attention, a good thing for the minority party to do. Elsewhere in politics today, Mitt Romney issued a stinging rebuke of Donald Trump, the front-runner for the Republican presidential nomination, called him a con artist, a fraud, and a phony. 4 years ago, you remember, Mitt Romney was asking Donald Trump for his endorsement and praised him mightily as a great American when he did get it. The U.S. Supreme Court today, Chief Justice John Roberts, in fact, said he would not set aside temporarily the clean air rule of the Obama administration, something that Attorney General Leslie Rutledge of Arkansas and others have been fighting. It looks like that rule will take effect despite a strong effort by Republicans to continue to fight efforts to clean up our air. A lawsuit has been filed in the city of Little Rock against the city of Little Rock for refusing to let more than one cab company have permits to operate taxis in Little Rock. Seems like a common sense sort of thing. I wish them success on that. The Quapaw Tribe of Oklahoma, which has bought land in Little Rock and has run into a lot of opposition on use of that land, free use of that land. Local business people want them to agree to all kinds of limitations on the use of that land near the port. They say to protect the port, but it's always been suspected that some of this opposition was being stirred by Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, which doesn't want any gambling competition beyond what it already has in Southland Park in West Memphis. The tribe said today that it's found that Oaklawn Park has been making FOI requests for information about its applications for gaming permits in other states. It thinks Oaklawn is behind the opposition to its use of its land here in Little Rock. They said it stinks, and I think that's probably a good way to put it. A Stone County jailer, former jailer, has been pleaded guilty in federal court to civil rights violation for paying a couple of inmates in tobacco to beat up another inmate. They've also pleaded guilty to that charge. That's it for today. I'm back and hope to be back again tomorrow, jet lag notwithstanding.